y'all, and welcome to this edition of Abbey Research Reads. I am Dr. Kristen, and today we're talking about Chasing Cosby, Nicole Egan's book about the downfall of America's dad. Now, Egan is the reporter who kind of followed this case the most through the Philadelphia Daily News in 2004, all the way up through 2020. This book was published in 2018 when Bill Cosby was still in jail, and is very much an excellent companion to Kamau Bell's 4-part docuseries on Showtime, We Need to Talk About Cosby. So this is incredibly factual. It talks to each of the Jane Does who have gone on record to accuse Cosby. It really, really shines from its coverage of 2004 onwards, explaining the cultural impact of the Hannibal Buress tape in 2014. And what's nice is that Nicole's Philadelphia lady, so she gets some of the stuff that like Kamau doesn't quite cover in the documentary, because it's not like he's not a beat reporter from Philly. So like there's elements of the fact that Cosby was a Philly boy and that Buress was a Philly boy that really shaped how the city talked about this. And I have a couple black friends who said, Philadelphia black community had ran out of patience for Bill Cosby many years before Hannibal Buress's video, and yet they still rose up to defend him, which Kamau really investigates in the series. Please, we would encourage you to watch that, or at least watch our coverage over on the main channel. But what I really appreciate about this book is that it explains exactly, more than Kamau does, how long everyone knew this was happening. At one point, Quincy Jones, the famed record producer, tells somebody, I've been telling Bill for years to stop drugging women. We know in 2009, D.L. Hughley called him directly out, and Bill used, at a radio interview, and Bill used his influence to get that interview squelched. We hear frequently that happened over and over again. And as the real kind of shift in people getting more and more bold about it happened in the 2000s, but it was not until the 2014 video of Hannibal Buress stand-up routine at the Trocadero here in Philadelphia that anything really started publicly happening in the way that it did. It details both trials. His first trial in 2016 ended in a mistrial, which then meant that his retrial, Cosby's retrial in 2018, was the first sexual assault trial of a public figure since the downfall of Harvey Weinstein, which happened when Jodi Kantor, Megan Twohey, and Ronan Farrow all released reports within a very short few weeks. And just previously, a couple of videos up on this channel, I have a review of Tarana Burke's incredible memoir, Unbound, which talks about that period in time from her perspective, which is very well worth the read, and even more well worth the listen from people I've had tell me that hearing her read her work is incredibly powerful. If you have any interest in the legal machinations of what it takes to bring down a powerful man, Chasing Cosby is absolutely for you. If you are a little bit of a completist in cases like this, I read everything about the USA Women Gymnastics thing. I'll read anything anyone publishes about Nexium. If you're a bit of a completist like me, then Chasing Cosby is very, very valuable because it does cover things that the show does not. If you're more of a watcher than a reader, honestly, Kamau does a great job, so hop on over there. And if I'm honest, both are really necessary if you want a full understanding of this case that, in a certain way, we don't talk about enough anymore. I think so much because his release happened during COVID, and there was a lot of other things going on in the summer of 2021, we didn't have quite the kind of national conversation about drugging women and having somnophilia as your kink as we should have had, to be honest. Although then again, when is America ever going to be comfortable enough with sex that we have a public conversation about somnophilia? If it happens in my lifetime, I'll be shocked. But I digress. I think Chasing Cosby is definitely worth the read if you have any interest in the subject matter. Nicole writes a really good book. She's a solid reporter and a good narrative storyteller, so it's good on that front. And if you are, like I said, more of a watcher, Kamau's got you covered. In a perfect world, I'd have you do both so that you really kind of grasp the gravity of this particular case, and I think some of its ramifications moving forward for how we allow someone's good deeds to cover up to then immediately equate that they're a good person. We saw this in Jimmy Savile as well, which there's an episode on our podcast talking about that. We need to continually remember that just because you do good things, you might not be a good person. Or you could be a good person and also do evil acts. No one is straightforward. Everyone is complicated. And to a certain extent, that's what it is. At the end of the documentary, Kamau asks people who Bill Cosby is. And there's two answers that really struck with me. One was that he was a rapist who had a TV show once. That's very true. And the other was that he was excellent at everything he did, whether it was entertainment or sexual assault. That's all for me for this edition of Abbey Research Reads. If you'd enjoyed the content, please give it a like and a subscribe so that you don't miss another one of my or Erin's conversations about empathy, engaging reads to help you expand your understanding of humanity. I'm Dr. Kristen. This has been Chasing Cosby by Nicole Egan, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.